Welcome back for another episode of Mindset Talks podcast with your two favorite girls here, dropping a new episode every Tuesday just for you.
Yes. Hey, guys. Hope
So,
everyone's
we,
doing well.
yes, and we hope you are excited for another new episode with us. We have some updates, and you definitely don't want to miss the end of this episode because we have some news to share.
We do. And let me tell you, it is exciting indeed. So you certainly don't want to miss it.
Yes, and we're just going to hold it until the end. So you just have to listen to us talk like you do every week, right? So we're excited to share it. But what we'll do is we'll jump into this episode now. So that way there isn't too much more of a long anticipated wait to hear exactly what it is that we're going to share with you.
Yeah.
All
Uh,
right. So, it's been some time since we have last spoken on our word
mm,
for 2023, our
mhm,
chosen dedicated word for the year.
mhm.
So just to refresh y'all on what those words are, for my girl Cassie, her word is intentional. So she is to be intentional with what she does this year.
Mhm.
And my word is fearless and clearly stated as to what that is to mean. So, Cassie,
Yeah.
how we doing on being intentional?
Well, I mean, there's a reason why we haven't talked about this in a while.
Hmm.
And that would just be because I don't truly have an update for anybody. I
What?
completely forgot that we even created words until you mentioned
What?
it a couple
Girl.
of weeks ago. And it's just not something that's been on the forefront of my mind,
Mm.
and so I guess you can kind of take that for what it is, and I have not been intentional in anything because I unintentionally forgot that I was supposed to be intentional.
Oof. Girl.
So,
Girl. Wow.
that's what's going on over here.
I'm gonna have to say that I'm pretty opposite when it comes to that.
That's
Um,
good.
I, to an extent, so
Oh.
I think about my word constantly. I am
Mhm.
not living out my word constantly. So
Gotcha.
I remind myself often that I am to be fearless this year in whatever it is that I do. And I honestly don't feel like I have been. I
Mm.
feel like I've been like more fearful.
Really?
And yeah, and it's just I feel like I'm so cautious in what I do and
Mhm.
wanting to be so certain that it's the right thing for me and not just living to live. Like, I've mentioned before about like my job and how I want to make a change in that area, but it's just when do I make that change? What should I change it to? And it's just I'm so fearful in making a change to something that is even worse than what I was changing from.
I hear you on that, because when you're talking change, you're not talking about the change that you've already done, right? Because before you went from, like, in building
Mhm.
management to, more, like, remote, like, side of the business that you're in.
Mhm.
So you don't mean just, like, changing, like, a department again. You mean, like, just, like, leaving the whole.
Right, like just changing my career, changing, you
Mm.
know,
Well,
I
that
have
yes.
right. So like I
That'll
have a
bring fear in anyone.
yeah, because it's just like I don't mind what I do, but I want to change how my job affects me.
Mhm.
And I feel like in order to do that, I have to change the field I'm in. I'm in customer
Oh.
service and I find myself to be very drained by it.
Oh, yeah.
And right, but it's like I don't know if I'm more drained by it now because I'm working from home and it's literally back to back to back talking to customers. I don't know if
Mm.
I'm drained because I'm working from home with my child and I'm a mother now. It's
Mhm.
really hard to factor exactly what it is.
It's true
Um,
because you never really got time doing the job before the baby,
Only a few
right?
months. only a
Yeah.
few months, and
We're
it
still
wasn't,
learning and
and it's busier now than it was then because we've opened up to service more areas. So it's even
gotcha.
busier. So it's,
Mm.
it's like many different factors change, but
Yeah.
but there's a big part of me that wants to be fearless, and I feel excitement on doing something different and something new. So I
Mhm.
even tried looking at, okay, maybe if I stay within the same realm of where I'm at but switch departments, right?
Mhm.
But it's just I've done some talking to people and like reaching out to get things determined, but I'm not being as fearless as I feel like I should be right now. Like I really am not.
Well, you have a
And
lot to think about, you have a lot to consider, right? So you kinda have to
yeah,
truly sit down and, like, weigh your pros and cons and, is it really worth it? Am I that unhappy? Whatever.
right, right. And it's just it's hard. It's a really big challenge, but at the same time, me being the person I am, I still feel like that's partially an excuse as to not make the change or to allow myself to be delayed in the change.
Mhm.
Because I feel like ultimately, as people, we typically are able to bounce back. There's always something else we can resort to. And
Yeah.
it may not necessarily be better than what we just left, but there's always room for growth. Like, how did I get to where I am today without growth? I didn't,
Right. There'll
you know?
always be some kind of a lesson.
Yeah, yeah. So it's just, and I don't know. I just have to talk to y'all about it because I feel like I need a push into being fearless. And I honestly feel like on the other side, the side of me being fearless, there's something really good over there. There's
Mhm.
something that is like waiting for me, or that I've been waiting for, that I've been seeking, but your girl just can't get herself there. I just really am holding myself back from being fearless.
Yeah, I mean, it is truly hard, right? Because I was having similar thoughts before I moved.
Mhm.
Because I was like, in order for me to move, like I have to change my job, but it's like, what do I do? I have like a very, very specific skill set and it's not,
Yeah.
widely out there. So it's like, what do I do? And, I can't move if this happens. And if I don't move, then like this can happen. And
Mhm.
so I was definitely there not that long ago.
Mhm.
Um, and I know obviously it's, like, a little different in, like, regards to, like, your circumstances and stuff like that, but
Right.
it was a similar, very scary feeling, um, and you really just kinda have to go for something at some point because
Mhm.
I've heard you long enough to know that you are not happy in any true capacity,
Right.
and that's, like, the main issue right there, right? So it's
Mhm.
like you have to figure out what that root cause is exactly because, and I won't get into, like, too many, like, details and, like, whatever, but, like,
Right.
just like a blanket question that I can ask you that's not too, like, invasive. Like, one
Mhm.
of the things I know that bothers you about this current position is the hours.
Oof, yes.
If you had different hours, do
Mhm.
you think you'd be okay with it?
Um, by different hours, I would be okay if those different hours are a shorter shift. And
Mm.
I say that because I technically work a 9-hour shift with an hour lunch.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, it's like that.
Right.
So you actually work 40 hours a week. Is that what
I
it comes
work
out to?
that's
Okay.
correct.
Alright.
I
Mine's
work
35.
right, I'll take 35. Gladly, I
Yeah.
would take 35. I would even do a 32. Honestly, like a full-time 32,
Is that a thing?
that some places, yes.
Oh, I'm like, I don't know if I heard of that, but okay.
For some jobs, they consider like over 30 hours as full-time. So it's not super common, but I have seen it in some places.
Do you know where? Like, is that somewhere that you would want to go?
I haven't fully found that,
Gotcha.
but Um, uh, uh, the schedule's a big thing, but I honestly, if I can have a less hours of my day devoted strictly to work, sitting in a corner,
Mhm.
because that's literally what I do, um, there would be a big, big change. There would be a huge amount of happiness added back in.
Gotcha.
Um, but
so it really does boil down to the schedule, right? Because or do you think that not regret, but are
Mhm.
you kind of wishing in a way that like you weren't like full remote? Like do
No.
you
No,
okay,
I being remote is not an issue for me.
okay.
It really isn't. I can say I do miss like joking and bantering with my coworkers like I used to,
Mhm.
when I was in the store. But I don't mind being from home because I can still talk with my coworkers. I still chat with my coworkers,
Okay.
we just aren't face to face. Sometimes we are, but
Mhm.
very seldom. So the working from home thing is not an issue. I've been customer facing in
Okay.
store for many years
Yeah.
across two major companies. So
Mhm.
I am absolutely fine with working from home.
Okay.
Um, and I can still roll my eyes when I talk to customers and they're saying dumb things, and it helps me get through my day a little better because I don't have to put on face
Yeah.
and smile like this and talk like this. Yes, I may have to keep my tone up a little bit more on the phone, but your girl does not have to hold her face right. So, and that's a lot of energy, y'all. For those who work in customer service and, even yourself being a manager, right? You know that that stuff gets exhausting because you really don't want to have to do it
Mm.
most of the time.
Yeah.
But,
My employees, though, I don't even try. They just know, like, this is me,
oh,
like, this is
shit.
this is what you're gonna get, so that's different, but when it comes to other like, the customers
I feel like in my job, we're very conditioned.
Mm,
And I find that as a reason why I want to get out of customer service because we're known to have good customer service.
yeah.
But I feel like we're known to have that because there's a conditioning that comes with it.
Mm,
So, you're trained to be like this, you're trained to do that. And it's a little crazy because I'll do it outside of work places. Like even when I talk to people for my own personal business
yeah,
and for my own doings or services that I need, I talk to them like I'm working, and it's weird because I'm just so used to it. So
right.
it's but the work from home I wouldn't change. I would not change that factor. I will say with working from home,
Mhm.
it's what I thought it was to be, but it affects me differently than I thought it would.
How so? What do you mean?
So with that, working from home, I know you have like your isolation, you're not really around people like that.
Mhm.
You don't talk to, like I mentioned, you don't talk to coworkers like you would when you're in the stores.
Yeah.
You don't really get up and walk away or walk around like you did when you're in the stores because granted I'm tied to a phone, so I'm
Mhm.
just in my little corner. But for what I didn't expect, for me, I feel most days depleted by the end of the day
I bet.
because of how much talking I have to do with customers because
Mm,
I literally go from phone call to phone call to phone call. And, when you're speaking with someone over the phone, just like how when we record, there
mhm.
shouldn't be too much silence on the line.
Yeah.
So, I have to make conversation sometimes, and that's exhausting. And
Yeah.
especially if it's with someone who doesn't know how to hold a conversation or someone who just isn't a talker. Yeah, it's a lot. So customers like you drain me. Like and we have one-on-ones with our supervisors and we actually listen to some of our calls. And there was one call my
Um,
supervisor was like, "Oh wow, you like had to pull the conversation out of that one." Yeah, I did. Like it was so hard talking to that customer.
yeah.
And for me, it's so exhausting that there are many days when I'm done working, you know, my man and I make sure the baby's fed, she has dinner, whoever puts her to bed. If I put her to bed,
Mhm.
I come back downstairs and I'm gone. I'm just
Yeah.
passed out on the couch. I sit
Yeah.
down and next it's like 12, 1 a.m.
Mhm.
And he's like, it's literally like someone took the battery out of you. Like I'm just done.
Yeah.
And that part I really didn't expect. I didn't think I'd be so tired like that. I'm not walking around, but I think the fact of having less activity, like physical activity,
Yeah.
has allowed me to feel more sluggish and lazy and
Yeah.
tired because I'm just sitting in a chair. And
Mhm.
I'll be the first to say that, I'm a self-conscious person when it comes to my physique,
Definitely.
because after the amount of years that I've spent like dedicating physical fitness to be a part of my lifestyle,
Mhm.
and it's already hard enough with motherhood, right? And your body changes with that. But then it's like I sit in a damn chair all day long. And
It's tough.
no shade to anyone, but like when you see big people, like overweight people in office jobs, and
Yeah.
it's just like, dang, but I can understand why and how.
Mhm. Yeah, no,
Because
definitely.
you're just sitting there and you got snacks, because you ain't just gonna sit there with I have to be near the phone all the time, so I'm gonna bring me some snacks.
Mhm.
So
Definitely.
now I'm just sitting and eating. I ain't going nowhere. I'm gonna sit my ass right here and eat. I might put the phone on
So
mute while I'm on the phone to just chomp on something real quick.
right. So I think maybe that's what it is too, because and that's a good point that you bring up, is because before when you were in store, you weren't just like, talking to people and stuff like that, but you were like running around the store and like
Girl, I'm a
doing
power
things.
walker.
Like,
Your girl was out.
I'm sure you were. I went to visit you once and I'm pretty sure we didn't stay in one place.
We didn't.
So I think that in general, from you going to just kind of like being, going around the store and stuff like that to just being a desk worker, that's
Mm-hmm.
a huge transition in itself. Like, even if you
True.
had like the most perfect hours and, maybe slightly different job duties to where you weren't like tied to the phone throughout the entire shift. Um,
Right.
and, like, always having to talk to people because that is extremely draining.
Mm-hmm.
Or, like, if you're to just do more, like, computer work or, like, whatever and still, like,
Right.
sit there, that in itself is still extremely, extremely draining.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just used to it because that's, like, what I've been doing for X amount of years now.
Right.
Um, but thankfully, my job does provide walking desks, which is nice, so that way
Man.
we can try to get a little exercise in
Right.
because
I still
they
got a
know.
stand-up desk. Ugh.
Yeah, some people have that too, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
So you
Mm-hmm.
really have to like stay mindful of it because you are correct. You can go south real fast if you're
Ooh,
not.
girl, yeah. And it's like I'm not there, and I know realistically I'm nowhere near there, but we
Yeah.
are our own worst critics. And I'll
Mhm.
be the first person to beat myself up. I'll be damned if I let
Oh,
somebody
same,
else beat me up worse than I can beat myself up, but that's just a competition I don't need to be in.
same.
But I just didn't look at that aspect of working from home. So that's what I mean, where it's like I knew what to expect, but it's affecting me different. Like it's affecting me
Yeah,
mentally
yeah.
like that, because it's just I'm being harder on myself than I need to be. And it's just like, girl, give yourself a break. Like you literally sat at a fucking desk all day. Like what do you expect? And I'm also working from home with a child, so I do at least
Mhm.
I've been more mindful of things lately. So every lunch we get outside, we go outside and go for a little walk before we eat. The baby's learning how to walk now, so I'll take a little break and walk back and forth down the hallway with her so that way she could get her little exercise in and I can
Mm,
get my little steps in too. So it's just, and for those of you who are listening and work from home, think of those as some things that you can do.
yeah.
We do have this thing called like a 1 minute stretch that someone will post sometimes in our team's chat. So that way everyone gets up and stretches, but it's like realistically that little 1 minute ain't gonna do me enough. So
Yeah, no.
I appreciate it, but I might stretch my arms or crack my fingers before I start typing again. But that's really about it there. But
Right, yeah. No,
you
it's
know,
definitely challenging because, like, I know during COVID, I was work from home and I was sitting down in one position because it was just absolutely insane. There was work to do literally every second for, like, almost,
Ooh,
like, 14 hours a day at times.
oh my
And I remember, like, as
gosh.
soon as, like, I was done, I would get up and I would go outside and I would go for a
Hmm.
walk just to, like, disconnect, to, like,
Right.
decompress and just kinda, like, get away from it all because it truly does become a lot, you see all
Hmm.
this, like, buzz about working from home and everybody wants to do it and, like, this
Hmm.
and that, but, like, yeah, it's all cool and dandy and whatever, but, like, people aren't truly talking about at least, or maybe they're not experiencing it yet, but I do think it's
Hmm.
gonna have some longer term, like, effects that people just aren't really aware of yet.
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna make people less willing to interact with others, in my opinion,
It's already
because
bad.
right, because I'm gonna say like, you know me, I can be a social butterfly when I want to be, and then I
Mhm.
can be like please don't talk to me. Let me be in my own space at the same time. You know,
Right.
I can flip between the two when need be, but that's just how I have to operate. I can't do too much social and I can't do too much alone time. But
Yeah.
working from home is like it just makes it easier to be like, I don't need to hang out with anybody or yeah, I don't really need to
Yeah.
go, but lately I've been finding myself like yearning to just get out the house and also get a little time to myself. Um but yeah, working from home has more to it than really what meets the eye. I'm not gonna like say it's not a good idea to do, but there are more things to be aware of when working
Yeah.
from home. And like you said, making that list and really understanding what it is that are your needs and what you can't deal with, right? So
Yeah.
it's just being able to recognize that and then using that to really better position yourself as to if that work from home job is right for you or if it's a different work from home job, because that's literally where I'm at right now and what I need to do.
Yeah. No, I think that would be a good start if you haven't, like, started doing something like that already.
Mhm.
Because,
I
you
already have my
really
schedule down.
what your schedule that, like, you want to have?
Oh, a schedule I would love to have. It's still under the 30 hours, so it's not quite full time. But if I had 10 to 3, 10 to 3 every day,
Well,
I would
of
even
course, everybody would like something like that. What?
not necessarily,
Like,
not
what?
necessarily. I would even do like a 10 to 4, but
You
I've had
just
a
sound
few
wild.
days. What?
You just sound wild.
I don't sound wild. I think realistically, we can make things work for us, but one, we have to figure out how to get there. And then I don't know, like I personally feel like yes, it sounds kind of outlandish, but at the same time, I don't find it to be impossible. And just because I may be working part-time doesn't mean that I don't source more income from elsewhere. Because when you spend less time working for the man and you have more time to your personal life, then you're opening up more opportunities to be able to invest in your own money and to be able to just get money from elsewhere. Because like myself, you seen the high chair skirt that I made for the baby's birthday.
Yeah, so cute.
I'm actually more creative than I give myself credit for, but I don't have time to invest in that because I'm too busy working for the man all fucking day long.
Yeah,
So, like, I literally stressed myself out to make that thing. It literally took me like no more than 2 hours, if that, to just
mhm,
get that done.
yeah,
But it's just if I open up my personal schedule a little more to be able to address those things, I'd
yeah.
probably be balling. I'd probably be like the most money making bitch on Etsy right now, and nobody would even know it. But you know.
I mean, listen, something like that, you certainly have to take a leap of faith for, and
Mm-hmm.
until you're able to, you have to just figure it out and
Mm-hmm.
put it in your schedule, and then, maybe there is a part-time job out there where you can take it and then just be like, "Okay, you know what? I'm going to try this, like, side thing and
Mm-hmm.
see if it works, and if it doesn't, then you'll just find another full-time job." But,
Right.
like, you're
Simple as
gonna have
that.
to take that jump if that's truly how you're feeling about it.
Yeah, girl, it's time to be fearless. It's just maybe talking to y'all about it will be able to give me that push that I need, hold myself accountable because,
Yeah, I
this
think
is now
so.
broadcasted everywhere for everyone to hear. So the next
Hint,
update I
hint.
give, I'm gonna have to be fearless in what I'm doing, but you're also gonna have to be intentional in something that you're doing as well. So I
Listen,
guess I guess both of us are just held accountable at this point.
I'm just really bad at being intentional because I couldn't even tell you what I could try to do to be intentional.
We'll discuss it off camera and get it figured out
Oh,
so that
man.
way when we give our next update, the people will be proud.
Yeah, I've just been so far removed from that, but last year I did pretty good.
You did great last year.
I don't remember what the word was. Oh, yes, I do.
Last
I was
what
personable.
personally, and you did
Yeah,
great. I forgot what the word was, but I remember you was just engaging with your coworkers and just being sociable and oh girl, you was doing the damn thing. And
I
I
was
am so proud of you for that
last year.
because we know that's not typical for you. So,
Nope, nope, not at all. Neither is being intentional, apparently, because I'm still
a little bit
well,
more of a struggle.
I guess
Or
maybe you can say that I've kind of been, because I haven't been so, like, floaty and, like, out there and just kind of, like, living day to
hmm
day. I
okay.
have been still, but also, like, I don't know.
I mean, you've
I
been
can't really
exercising, and I know that's something you've been wanting to do. That's being intentional. So
trying. I don't really know if you'd consider it to be exercising, but I have been trying.
baby steps, girl, baby steps.
I definitely need to because
Only wild animals come out the womb running. Give yourself some time.
can't with you. Do they even? Because
Well, most of them do, don't they? Like deers and horses.
don't they have like all
My
the like
man,
wobbly little legs and shit?
they're
I don't.
wobbly, but my man says that humans are the only ones that take damn near a year to start walking.
That might be true, but I don't think they come running out the womb.
I'm just being extra. You know me. I can't stand
I'm
you.
just saying. I'm
Can't even be
science over
extra with
here.
the
I'm
girl.
very
Yeah.
technical in my.
Well, I was just being OD. I know they don't actually come out the womb running, but them
Just
mugs walk a lot sooner than we do as
okay.
humans.
There you go.
So give yourself a break and ease into it.
Mm,
You're welcome. All you have to do is say thank you.
okay, thank you. We'll leave it at that. We will leave it at that.
Anyways, enough of my home work from life dilemma drama and not being fearless. I would like for us to jump into the exciting news that we have to share.
Yes, I mean, you kind of dropped a little hint,
Oh, did
and
I?
you did, which I don't know if that was intentional or not, but but I definitely caught on to it and thought it was a good thing if you would have recognized it. But
Mhm.
I don't even know. Is this something that you want to say, or do you want me to say? I
I
can't
think
remember
you,
who
because
said
I'm
the
sure the
last
people are
one.
tired of hearing me talk in this episode at this point.
Oh, please. People love to hear you talk. But okay. So a couple of weeks ago, me and Amanda were approached by a lady.
We were approached by a
Um,
stranger.
we were
I'm fine.
we got a nice
Sorry.
little email into our inbox
Oh
um
yeah.
from
What did it say?
someone
Sorry. Go ahead.
who works with a radio station
Yes.
wanting to I feel like I'm just not saying this the way that it should be said. But anyways, so
I'm about to be the
somebody reached out
roadrunner.
to us. I didn't really prepare like a speech for this.
All right,
Um,
let's stop Cassie. So I'm just gonna jump right into it because she's dragging it on, and I'm all eager for y'all to hear. So pretty much,
uh,
this company has reached out to us. They are a broadcasting company, so they, they pretty much display our episodes, or I can't think of the correct word, right? Because there wasn't a speech for this, like Cassie said. So they broadcast our episodes on radio and on TV that is local to the Atlanta area. And I know there are some other areas too that have it's like the live access channels, right? So this broadcasting company reached out to us and they want to broadcast our show. So they're saying that they want your girls to be heard even further than we are already being heard. We know some, like some folks we know are, up here up north with us, but this is another opportunity for us to be heard down south, out west. Like we're just, even more all over the place than we already are. So we are now
wild.
going to be broadcasted. So, this episode drops on Tuesday this week, right? So later in the week, your girls will be starting to be broadcasted on WDJY 99.1 FM. I know they have, they're based out of Atlanta, but they do have stations, that play in DC, was it Mount
New
Vernon
York.
area, New
Yeah.
York, Cali. So, many different people are going to be able to tune into us along with y'all. So, we're excited.
Yes,
We're
it
excited. We're like, y'all just gonna have to hear us everywhere. Like we thought
I
you was hearing us everywhere, but you really gonna have to hear us everywhere.
definitely. And this is all like brand new. This is all happening
Mm-hmm.
like kind of fast
Fresh,
and
fresh. Yeah, like this is new for us, so it's even newer for y'all, but it's still super new for us too.
yes, and I don't think that we've truly had a moment to really like process it and I don't think me and Amanda, well, we've had a lot of talks about it, but, like,
Yes,
we
yes.
haven't really had talks about, like, since, like, we decided to go through with this, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just,
Sinking
we'll
in.
see what happens, and we will be on air every Friday at 9 a.m.
Yes. How
It's just wild.
exciting.
So
So
weird.
you can hear us on your morning commute. If you don't listen to us on, podcasts or YouTube, the radio station is now another option.
Yeah.
We
That's so
just
wild. I don't just
more
thinking about it.
options. More options to hear us. Like, mm,
Yes, so make sure you guys spread the word, especially if you have any fam bam down south, and let them know
factos.
to turn it on. Cause like, I know I'm sitting here thinking, like, right, so in the mornings, I that's, like, local, every morning, and I'm like, "Damn," I'm like, "Someone can just be, like, skimming through their radio stations, and they would just hear our voices and being like, 'Oh, look at that. They're actually kind of
Right.
interesting. Let
Who are
me.'"
these girls? Yes.
Oh, man, just wild.
Yeah.
But thank
So,
you so much for the opportunity because I'm pretty sure they will be listening to this.
yes,
I
Hype
don't
Media
know.
Global.
Okay, there you go. So yeah,
Read your
just
mind.
thanks.
We're so awkward
Um,
and I love
are.
it, but
Okay.
if we weren't awkward, we wouldn't be us. So,
No,
it's
that is true.
our little seasoning on top or not. All right, whatever. I'll laugh by myself on that. Cassie
Uh,
laughs at me. She doesn't laugh
yeah.
with me. If y'all
Nope.
haven't noticed, she doesn't necessarily laugh with me. She laughs
Not all the
at
time.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one just
So,
now, that was a laugh at you. So I'm glad you
hmm
recognized that.
I'm very aware. I'm very aware.
That happens when you're friends since
Uh-huh.
elementary.
You can't get rid of them.
Yeah, not at all.
Yeah,
Tried.
no, I'm stuck with this girl. Ooh,
Mm.
thank God I love you. Anywho. So yeah, so that's our exciting news. Your girls are gonna be broadcasted on radio across the country. So definitely, like Cassie said, tell your folks to tune in if they don't already. However, we
Uh-oh.
are going to wrap up this
Oh,
episode. But before we do, we want to remind y'all your girls need to be followed on Instagram, Facebook, subscribe to YouTube if you hadn't already, so you don't miss out on our new episodes and our latest content. We are here for you, and definitely like, comment, share, and subscribe.
yes. Thank you guys. And until next time.
Later.